era begins again.
And welcome to Motorcycle Madhouse Radio. How you guys doing out there? Don't forget, subscribe to all our platforms, man. You'll get all kinds of stuff you don't see over on YouTube and some of the other platforms, and that is because, you know why, the censorship police are out there. But today we are going to be talking about property of patches as well as women in the motorcycle club scene. Now, it's not only the motorcycle club scene, but also, independence. A lot of people ask me how things have changed since the 1990s when I came in, and boy, do I gotta tell you, things have changed a lot. And it's not only in the motorcycle club scene or in the scene as a whole, independence, whatever you call it, but the way men are nowadays is something that is inconceivable to have happened when I was coming up. It really is. Men nowadays, I think, and I go around and say this all the time, I think men have lost their balls. Or they let their balls be dragged around by a woman, and it's really hurt this country as well as hurt the club scene and all that kind of crap. It really has. It used to be where the man was the head of the household. They go to work, provide for the freaking family. But nowadays, you got guys that just sit on a couch, play that PlayStation thing or that Xbox, and the woman goes out there to work. Now, I think that contributes really to, the empowerment of women, because they're out there doing a man's job. They're out there doing what a man's supposed to be. And it's really sad. And you know what? Unfortunately, you've seen that type of thinking creep its way into being the biker lifestyle, man. You really have. It's creeped right in there. And I think, when people ask me when things started to change, it had to be, I always go back to it, the rub invasion, man. You had guys coming in there, they were family guys, and there's nothing wrong with rubs. I'm not saying that. They have their part in the community. They actually, if you want to know the truth, before they came into the scene, it wasn't cool to be a biker, man. It really wasn't. If you think motorcycle profiling's bad today, or you think biker profiling's bad today, you should have came up when I did, man. And I know a lot more old timers that went through worse stuff than we did in the 90s. But the rubs, they actually put a good image on on everything. So yeah, they got their place in it. I have to say that, so I ain't banging on rubs. But what I am saying is when they came into the scene, they brought different values to the scene. Stuff that, guys like me or other guys would never have thought of happening, because we were raised a little different, man. It was about freaking, okay, the woman, you put them in the corner, they're seen, not heard type of deal. And there's a very good reason why that happened. Really good reason. Because a lot of crap starts with going back to a woman. It always starts that way, and I really don't understand why guys do that kind of crap. They want to get all hell bent out of shape over a woman, and it's something I just never understood. But when it was back in my time, that's where it was, man. It was pretty hard freaking core. I watched an interview somebody gave with Hunter Thompson, and you want to know how it was is, well, sometimes you got to beat them like a rug to keep them in line. That was the thinking back then, because it was more of a serious type of living than it is now. Now society's freaking morals and all that type of stuff started coming into the scene, which I find funny is because we're supposed to be rebels and supposed to be living out the scene, but all that has creeped its way in and actually watered down what it's really was about. And it's a man's lifestyle, For example, on a lot of my platforms, it's 97% male, 3% female, and there's a reason for that. Because it's a male dominated type of deal. It's always been a male type of, you know, living, if you will. So, yeah, it's kind of like culture shock for guys that think my way. It's going to be a lot of the older guys. Now, the younger guys, it has to be anywhere between 18 and, mid 30s, I'd have to say. They don't think that way anymore. And those are the ones that are actually led by the balls. Because God forbid, sometimes I would say some stuff like this. I actually got an article over on hooliganbiker.com about this. And boy, some of the stuff that came up. Well, you can't talk to a woman like that. You can't do this. Oh, get out of here, man. You know what? We can see who's leading who around the balls. And I also did an article where I talked about, we'd actually look on guys like weird and, with suspicion when we're all there partying and stuff, having fun with the ladies, and they sit in the corner and say, well, I can't do it. Really? That was the thinking back then. Nowadays, it's like, I only have one woman and I'm not going to do nothing. Well, I guess you got morals, but yeah, you're living real outside the freaking norm when it came to our generation, man, because you had a nice blonde, you had a nice brunette sitting in the corner, man, ready to get some hum-hum going on. You were having your fun, man. That's what it was all about. But, with the property ofs, and one thing that people don't understand about property ofs, because this is, the media puts out there, they're slaves, they're this, and that. No, that's not the case at all. It's actually an honor to get one of them patches, because to get one of them patches, you actually got to be married to a club member or been dating the dude for years upon years, man. The clubs ain't just throw a property up patch on some broad that some guy met. Because you know what? To them, that is family right there. And with the property patch, some clubs are doing away with it, but a lot of the clubs here in the Midwest keep on using them, which I think is the right thing to do, because it actually identifies who they are, who they're with, and that way it solves some of the problems with other guys coming up, hitting on them, and all kinds of stuff starts out. And they're really protected. I remember we used to call them patch chasers because a lot of these women, they would die to have one of them patches on. That's all they did was chase guys just to see who would give them a property patch. That's just the way it was. So when you're hearing this stuff in the media, or you're hearing these new age bikers, Jesus, man, with these new age bikers, do they have everything backwards when it comes to what this life was actually about? Now, I get it. You got to evolve, whatever you have to say, it is what it is, but I actually do feel sorry for them because they didn't get the experience the way I got to experience, and it was actually, I don't know, fun back then, where nowadays you got, because all this moral crap and all the way people look at you, it's really taking the fun out of everything, man. Everybody's so judgmental of each other, and I think that goes back to the problem that this country's facing, because men are not men anymore, man. Do some homework here. Go on one of our platforms like Facebook or YouTube, or even some of the comments on hooliganbiker.com, and look how people respond. Yeah, those are actual people responding, and you can tell the way they think. Now, God forbid one of these new age bikers, and I call them new age because they're a bunch of, new jacks to me. I've been riding over, since 91, a long freaking time, and that's been year to year, never stop. I live, breathing, this lifestyle all I could to its fullest. That's always what I've been. But these guys, the part-timers, I call them, they want to bring in this ideology that, well, this is the way it's supposed to be. Well, that's because taking your morals from outside society, you want to halfway freaking do everything. You want to look the part, but don't want to act the part. And yeah, I know I'm going to get people crying and whining about going off on that type of thinking, but if you wanted the pure lifestyle, with the come on, even with the women back in the day, it was you were on the back, man. You never rode the bike, never. Something I kind of think is cool nowadays, but then I didn't. But you got some hot broads riding them machines, and it's a turn on right there, man. So that ain't so bad. But back then, never hardly seen that stuff, and especially in a club, because some club guys, their old ladies have a bike, but they don't wear their patch with them. But yeah, they got their own bikes now, and that was unheard of back then. Unheard of. But it's quite normal today. But back to the property of patches. Stop bashing it if you don't know it. That's what I always say. Especially you new agers. Oh, I never put a property patch on my old lady. Well, that's because you got no balls, man, and they're leading you around. That's why you won't do it, man. There's nothing degrading about that. Property ofs, they don't go around. They don't service the members like freaking the news says. Now, one thing I will tell you, again, they don't do it, but yeah, you might have some, pass-arounds up in that clubhouse that just like being passed around because they want to work for, somebody's loving her or whatever. Yeah, there's pass-arounds within the club that do that kind of stuff, but they don't wear property patches because that would degrade what a property patch is all about, So, and a lot of guys are going to say, well, you're banging on people because they don't want to partake. Hey, that's up to you, man. If you're a little weird, that's on you. You a freak, that's on you, But no, we're, people looking at you a little different because it's like, yeah, especially the older guys are going to do that. I think that's why I'm actually glad that I'm an independent, just to throw that out there, because I don't think I can really connect with clubs now because of the new jacks, man. Just the way the thinking is out there. Some of the stuff they do, it makes you tilt your head like a confused freaking dog. And they're mainly the ones behind the push about the property of patches. Let's not kid ourselves. They're the ones behind it. And they're the ones that feed this news media that crap. But it's usually the rub type of ones that are pushing that type of stuff because in their moral thinking, it's not the way it's supposed to be. So, yeah, they got a place within the scene, but do they got a say about how it's supposed to be? I don't think so, man. I really don't. They're not living it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They're living it, how can I say it? Half-ass. That's about all you can say. It's half-ass. Take a look at some of these people, okay? Next time you're at a bar, run, whatever, and see the way they act. And then, compare it to what they try to say with what those women are supposed to be in the scene and that crap. Just compare it, See what you see out there. And then hopefully you'll start seeing what I'm talking about when it comes to why not only the scene is in trouble with men, but also this country. It used to be where men were just so hardcore, especially the working man. I'm talking about the blue collars. They used to go out there. Those were men. But nowadays, it's just about laziness and sitting on the thing playing games, man. What kind of life is that? And what kind of man is that showing you to be where you do that? But even worse, you have a woman that is leading you around. That ain't much of a man in my eyes. It really is not. It is actually quite sickening if you think about it. I've seen couples argue, and the woman is doing it in public, just, making the dude look just weak. And that's one thing you don't want to look is weak when it comes to being out there riding a bike and, playing the part, if you will. You do not want to look weak because it makes you look like an idiot when a woman's up in your face and you got nothing coming. A lot of people with that also, and that comes where that guy in the old days would say beat him like a rug, because back then women didn't get attitude, man. Because it is dangerous, especially in the club scene, for a woman to get out of check. Because if you look back in history, there's been a lot of people that got killed over that crap. A lot of people. And it's because a woman. A woman goes out there, opens her mouth, or spreads her legs, and next thing you know, there's a shootout, there's bombings, or whatever, because of one woman. And how many people have passed on because a woman started something in the 1970s? They were pretty strict in the 1970s, man. I heard of some clubs they would nail up women and, some outlandish, kind of crap. Those boys were hardcore when it came to women, man. And, so look at your history before you open your mouth, but more importantly, keep them in check, man, because there's already enough problems in the scene. There don't need to be more of the problems. So, property hub patches, there's nothing wrong with them. None of that stuff that the media says is true. It's all messed up if you think that way. Again, there's property hubs, which is part of the club's family, and then there's pass-arounds. The pass-arounds, let's be honest, they don't have enough freaking integrity or pride in themselves to not do it. They let themselves do it because they're chasing something that thinks it's going to make them more popular. Now, it is what it is, man. That's the way the scene's always been. So, but don't get the two mixed up. Because getting the two mixed up, you're just making yourself look ignorant, because that's not the way it really is. And if you're listening to these news reports and basing your opinions on news reports instead of going out there and actually seeing what it's about, then you're an ignorant fool. Because nothing upsets me more than people forming their opinions on a subject such as property hub patches, than people going to news for their sources, and we all know how news sources are nowadays. Come on, we do the biker news every morning, and I put the news section on the screens, and you can see how biased it is. So why would you even think about taking the news as the basis of not only your argument, but your viewpoints? Why would you even do that? That is insane. No, what you need to do is get out on the streets, get around some clubs, and especially clubs that have the property hubs walking around, and notice what happens with the property hubs. You got freaking prospects following them all around. They are protected more than some of the guys in the club, man. And I'm talking officers. They got protection all the way around, man. They always got their escorts out there because that's how respected they are. Now, do the pass-arounds? Hell no, they don't got any freaking security or nothing. They're just a pass-around, for Christ's sakes. But again, don't form your opinions on something you don't know. And, again, watch the comments, man. You're going to have a lot of guys out there that's going to come back with some crybaby whiny crap because this is the way they think. It's not supposed to be that way. Give me a break. I often say sometimes that a lot of these people would have been driven away crying if they had to go through the 90s, especially the 80s and 70s. They would have been crying their way out. They'd be running because they'd be in such culture shock. It would be freaking hilarious. It really is hilarious watching some of these guys, and then in the back of your mind, you're going, man, I feel for you, dude. In my day, you wouldn't have lasted so freaking ever with the way you think and the way you're led around the balls by a woman. Now, again, I got this article up on hooliganbiker.com, and I go into a lot more different aspects of the women, the way things changed, the whole 9 yards. A lot more than you'll get on this segment of Motorcycle Madhouse Radio. So go over there, check it out, and you'll see more thoughts. Also, an article is going to be hidden where I talk about why clubs are fighting each other, why the beef started. If, personally, it comes down to a few clubs that got it started, and you're going to see that in the article. Then, maybe a week later, I'll come back and do a follow-up on it on a segment of Motorcycle Madhouse Radio and all that good stuff. But let me know in the show comments what you guys think and all that good jive, man. Don't forget to subscribe, like everything, share it, whatever. We're going to be having a contest coming up for one of them concealed compartments that bolts right onto your bike. I think it's they fit a 99 through an 08, but we're going to be giving away this to a subscriber. So big contest. I think it's $450 is the retail price tag on this thing. It's going to be unpainted. That way you can paint it the way you want. It's a great product from over at concealedcompartments.com. And don't forget, when you're over on Insane Throttle, click on some of those banners and stuff. Those are our sponsors. Give them a thanks for being a part of the show. They help keep us going, and so do your donations, man. You guys have really been cool with the donations. You can use PayPal. Any of that stuff, I'll actually put a link in the description box, so hit that up. But until next time, man, I'll see you on that next segment.